Hong Kong, perched atop a geopolitical fault line, is one of the most distinctive cities in Asia due to its fusion of Eastern and Western influences. With its transition to full Chinese sovereignty slated for 2047 and domestic political tensions escalating, it's worth examining how the city arrived at this critical juncture. Historically, the region now known as Hong Kong was inhabited by the Yue people, a community of fishermen and farmers spread across the coastal and island areas. Over time, it came under the control of various Chinese dynasties, including the Qing, Han, Tang, Song, Yuan, Ming, and Qing. Significant demographic and economic changes took place during the Ming and Qing periods, though the region remained relatively peripheral compared to mainland centers of power. Hong Kong's most dramatic transformation occurred during the Qing dynasty, primarily due to growing trade relations with the British Empire. Britain developed a voracious appetite for Chinese goods, particularly tea, porcelain, and silk. However, China would only accept silver in exchange, leading to a trade imbalance that alarmed British officials. In response, Britain began exporting opium from British-controlled India into China, resulting in widespread addiction and social destabilization. When Qing authorities attempted to halt the opium trade, most famously through Commissioner Lin Zexu's crackdown in Canton, it led to open conflict. The First Opium War, from 1839 to 1842, ended with a decisive British victory. Under the Treaty of Nanking in 1842, China ceded Hong Kong Island to Britain in perpetuity as a concession to open trade negotiations and provide a secure base in East Asia. The Second Opium War, from 1856 to 1860, followed shortly thereafter, concluding with the Treaty of Peking in 1860, under which Britain gained control of the Kowloon Peninsula south of Boundary Street. Concerned about the vulnerability of these holdings, Britain negotiated a 99-year lease of the new territories in 1898, expanding its control over the surrounding rural areas as a buffer against potential northern threats. Over roughly 150 years of British rule, Hong Kong underwent a profound transformation. The British colonial administration invested in infrastructure, education, and economic development. Western-style schooling introduced liberal ideals, capitalism, and democratic thought to the population. As a result, Hong Kong evolved into a hybrid society, merging Confucian values with Western political and economic systems. It became a vital financial hub in Asia and a significant contributor to global commerce, not directly to China's GDP during colonial rule, but later as part of China's broader economic engagement with the world. As the end of the lease approached, the British and Chinese governments began negotiations over the city's future. Although only the new territories were subject to the lease, Chinese leaders demanded the return of all of Hong Kong. In 1984, the Sino-British Joint Declaration was signed, agreeing that the entire region would be returned to China in 1997. Under this agreement, Hong Kong would retain a high degree of autonomy and preserve its capitalist system and way of life for 50 years, until 2047, under the principle of one country, two systems. Although 2047 once felt far away, it is now fast approaching. In recent years, Beijing has taken steps to assert greater control. In 2020, the Chinese government imposed a sweeping national security law on Hong Kong, criminalizing acts of secession, subversion, and collusion with foreign forces. The law effectively allowed Chinese authorities to bypass Hong Kong's local judiciary in certain cases. This move, along with electoral reforms that reduced democratic representation, sparked widespread protests and international concern. Many residents viewed these actions as a breach of the autonomy promised in the 1984 agreement. Despite these developments, under international law, Hong Kong is part of China. While the people of Hong Kong continue to navigate the tension between their unique identity and Beijing's growing influence, the city's future remains one of the most closely watched geopolitical stories of our time.